Hey guys, so over the weekend we had LCS 13, which was a 3v3 event, which always makes it a little more exciting. I'll be going over some of the most common hand traps and staples in top cut deck lists, as well as some other numbers. Now if you want to see all of these deck lists, then make sure to check out Luxury Gaming's website listed here, and also go check out Luxury Gaming on YouTube and Instagram as well. I'll have the links below. And if you want to see more breakdowns like these, then make sure to subscribe. Now there were exactly 70 teams that entered, which means a total of 210 players, so a great turnout once again. The three most popular decks at the event were Dragon Link, Dogmatic Invoke Shaddoll, and Prank Kids, to nobody's surprise. You have Tri Brigade, Eldritch, and Dinos as well, which took up a good chunk, but some popular rogue choices like Subterror and Mech Knights were there too. Now once you got to top cut, only a handful of different decks were made. Dragon Link was the most represented, and Dinos had a pretty good conversion rate as well. You also have Zodiac variants, as well as Dogmatic Invoke Shaddoll, Prank Kids, and a Dogmatic Eldritch Dragoon list top, and these deck lists will be what the video will focus on. Now let's just quickly map out the decks played by each team in top cut visually. So first place featured one Dragon Link and two Prank Kids list, while second place was all running the exact same Dino list. You also had team simulators in the top 4 playing 3 different Zodiac variants involving Pure, Eldritch, and Tri Brigade Zodiac. So another way of looking at it is that at least 5 of the 8 teams featured a Dragon Link deck, whereas all of the other decks were seen by 2 different teams at most. All of the decks in Top Cut were all Tier 1 and maybe some Tier 2 decks as well. So let's go over some hand trap numbers. Now overall, the hand traps in the main range from 3 to 12 cards, with the median of 6 hand traps, which is lower than the last LCS at 9 cards. The median number of hand traps in the side was 6 cards as well. Now if you look at it by the different decks, Prank Kids had a lot of hand traps in the main, with a median of 10 cards. The rest of the decks were pretty much playing around 6 as the median number. Pretty interesting since Zodiac typically plays a lot of hand traps, although they had a lot of traps instead. Eldritch Dragoon played just 3 Ash in the main and opted to play a bunch of traps instead as well. As for the median number of Backrow removal cards, as usual, not really played in the main, with a median of 0 cards and a median of 3 Backrow hate cards in the side. Now if you look at it by deck, then you have Dragon Link with the most at 5.5, really because they are able to OTK pretty easily and need to ensure they clear the back row. Prank Kids, another combo heavy deck, was the next highest at 4. Now Dinos only had a median of 1 Backrow hate in the side, but that's because they were main decking instead, with a median of 4 Backrow hate cards in the main, the highest than any other deck. The remaining decks played roughly around 3 Backrow hate cards in the side as their median number. So now let's cover the top 10 most common hand traps and staples from our top cut deck list. At first, as always, is Ash Blossom, being seen in all 24 lists, mostly in the main deck. Really the most versatile hand trap out there, and is the reason why it is so expensive despite the number of reprints. Next up is Phantasme at 19 lists, so this card has been climbing up in ranks the last couple LCS events. Really strong against Dragon Link particularly, with 10 decks actually having it in the side. Now at third is Nibiru, which has fallen off in usage slightly since the last LCS, although still popular of course. Not really main decked anymore though, with 4 lists main decking this card. And then we have Droll and Lockbird, which is definitely useful against decks like Dragon Link and even Dogmatic Invoke Shaddoll, and 7 lists main deck this card with 3 siding it. Gamma used to be the number 1 to 2 slot for the most of the times that I've been doing these analysis, but lately it isn't as high up here as it used to be. Still a very strong hand trap of course, and most decks that played it main decked it. Next we have Artifact Lancia, which surprisingly did not see as much play as before. Very good against Dinos and Tri Brigade variants to prevent them from banishing, but only 5 lists played it, all in the side. We also have Imperm being played, albeit not in many lists. Certainly has fallen in popularity since Virtual World was the best deck, and it doesn't seem like it ever really rebounded back, considering that it used to be one of the most played hand traps. Then we also have one team, 2 buys 1 toast, that all played Contact C in the side. What this card does is that when your opponent normal or special summons a monster, you can special this to your opponent's side of the field, and if they control this card, then they cannot fusion, synchro, xyz, or link summon unless they use this card as material. And given that it's a level 6 insect monster, I can see how this would make things really awkward for the opponent. And then we have more hand traps that were not really played, including Dimension Shifter and Ghost Bell. There were also DD Crow, Ghost Ogre, and Skullmeister seen in one list as well. Next, let's cover the most common staples. At first is Dark Ruler No More, and this is interesting since typically Backrow hate cards see the number 1 spot on my videos for this section. Dark Ruler is very good against a lot of decks right now, notably Dragon Link, but being able to Dark Ruler the Battle Butler or Winda is very useful as well. mostly played in the side though. And then we have Twin Twisters and Cosmic Cyclone, so essentially the quick play spell trap removal cards were more popular than normal blowout cards like Harpy's Feather Duster and Lightning Storm. Reason for this is because Prank Kids Pandemonium and Shaddoll Schism, the two fusion cards, can only be activated in the main phase, so being a quick play has really good utility right now. Twin Twisters may have been slightly more popular because Prank Kids and Dogmatic Invoke Shaddoll typically set more than just one card, so if they set 2, then you can be more comfortable in launching that twin in the draw or standby phase. We also have Call by the Grave being seen in 11 lists, all in the main. And then we have Dino Wrestler Pankratops, which was actually main decked by 6 lists, although of course most of that coming from the Dino list. We have some other power-up spells like Lightning Storm and Triple Tactics Talent, and Solemn Judgment was the only trap to make it on the list this time. We have Super Polymerization as well, which is a standard card for the Dogmatic Invoke Shaddoll list, although one Prank Kid list did main deck this too. Great out to Dragon Link boards, but also very key in the Shaddoll mirror as well. Alright guys, so that is it for the top cut breakdown of this month's LCS. Shout out to Luxury Gaming team for hosting another great tournament, and I hope you guys subscribe so you can get these kind of top cut breakdowns moving forward. Take care guys.